There's a somewhat long-standing debate about effort versus effortlessness when it comes to awakening or self-realization or enlightenment or spiritual development. One side of this argument states that effort is necessary. We can't get to the top of the mountain without making effort. The other side of the argument states that no, in spiritual reality, awareness is an effortless state of being and no effort is required. And what you need to somehow realize and recognize is this residing in awareness, residing as awareness, abiding as awareness, and focusing on only that, and everything else will take care of itself. The truth is, in fact, both. That both have their rightful place. That what we call effort really comes from the mind and the body, or what the fourth way calls the four centers. The four centers, or the mind and body, can summon their best attention and harness this attention and bring this attention to bear in the moment, in the present, and in the hopes of catalyzing awareness. And this is appropriate and in many cases necessary. Whereas it is also true that awareness does not do that. Awareness does not have to summon all this attention, but it does. Think of a lens that comes into focus. If you turn a lens that's out of focus into focus, as you turn it more, it becomes more and more into focus. This is what happens with awareness and the self-realization of awareness. This lens of awareness itself, can become more and more in focus. Doesn't mean it will stay in focus, but there are times when it comes into focus and you realize that. But very often what happens is it goes out of focus again. It lapses out of itself. It forgets itself, as the fourth way would say. One analogy for thinking about it is to envision your hands and you're trying to scoop up some water to get a drink. And as you scoop your hands, you can capture not all the water, but you capture some of it enough that you can get a sip. You can get a taste. And this is akin to the mind and body, or to the four centers, using their resources to contain awareness long enough to get a taste. But they cannot contain it permanently, because that's not the nature of awareness. And it's also not the nature of the mind and body to be able to do that. But they can, with different techniques, with different practices, the different disciplines, spiritual disciplines, they can learn to capture and contain and then get a taste of this awareness. And that can lead a person to the next step. What happens in terms of awareness is it's akin to the water itself realizing its own wetness. It doesn't taste itself, it is itself. This then correlates with effortlessness. The same thing is conveyed in art sometimes. The famous Michelangelo, you see man reaching toward God and God reaching down toward man. But this symbolizes the mind and body, the four centers, extending themselves toward this higher dimension, but never able quite to reach it. And at the same time, this higher dimension, awareness or consciousness, extending itself down to the mind and body, to the four centers, and where they can touch, then create a spark. But it's just a spark. It is never the mind and body becoming awareness. It is never man becoming God. But there is a connection here, and this is the connection between effort and effortlessness. And in this sense, effort has its right place, its right purpose, until effortlessness is well established in itself, as itself. But this doesn't just happen instantaneously for most people, and it's not enough to adopt an attitude or an outlook of effortlessness, because that's often just the mind trying to emulate and appropriate awareness, and in doing so convince itself that it is awareness, and that I, the person, am now aware, awake, enlightened. Yes, self-realization is simple, but it's not that simple. It's not that simple in the way that the mind and the body would like to think.